In 1977, when Star Wars was released, we saw the menacing figure, Darth Vader. This was long before we knew what a Sith was, and a few years prior to understanding he even had a master in Emperor Palpatine. Sure, it seemed Grand Moff Tarkin was the one holding his leash, as Princess Leia put it, but Tarkin died at the end of the film. That left us up to speculation that Darth Vader was left as the villain, and that he was the big villain of Star Wars all along. Maybe even the only villain. We were led to believe that he was even responsible for the fall of the Jedi Order and the eradication of their cult. Decades later, Star Wars Rebels was created. We found out that Darth Vader wasn't the only one to kill the Jedi. The Inquisitors was actually responsible as well, at least in part. Did the introduction of the Empire's Inquisitors diminish the Darth Vader we grew up with? Today, on Star Wars Fanatic. Before I get started, I just want to remind you to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay up to date on all my Star Wars content. With that out of the way, let's jump right in. Darth Vader, towering over most of the other characters in the original 1977 release of Star Wars, became the most recognizable and iconic villain in all of cinema. Before we knew much at all about the Force, and before we knew him as Anakin Skywalker, the father of Luke Skywalker, the Clone Wars had only been mentioned in a hologram, and Obi-Wan Kenobi gave an elaborate exaggeration of the evil man who was once his apprentice. Backing up, we saw that Darth Vader was able to hold men off the ground by their throats before snapping their necks and throwing them against a wall. Darth Vader became awe-inspiring. He was the sci-fi villain everyone wanted more of. Fast forward to 2013. Star Wars Rebels was released. Finally, another story about the time of the Imperial rule of the galaxy, the time of Darth Vader. Of course, there had been many novels and comics about the Dark Lord, not to be mistaken with the other Dark Lord from that franchise about teenage wizards and witches. But Lucasfilm and Disney deemed those stories legends. But here we are. We get a new set of stories about this period. Bring us Darth Vader. I mean, he was the villain we all craved after all. But wait, what's that? Or rather, who's that? What? An Inquisitor? Hunting Jedi? A Grand Inquisitor at that? What's an Inquisitor and why is he in Star Wars? Oh, he's hunting Jedi. I thought that's what Darth Vader's job was. I'll give it a chance, I guess. To my surprise, I really enjoyed the series. When it was all said and done, it had a great cast of characters and it was dark, at times, for a cartoon. Not that I'm into darkness, but come on, Darth Vader's my second favorite Star Wars character. You don't get much darker than that. The premise of the show is a group of fledgling rebels that are struggling to fight the Empire on their own. The leader was a former Jedi who was now hiding his identity. They happened upon Ezra Bridger, who shows a great deal of potential and connection to the Force. Okay, the Aladdin joke, I'll give you that one. Look at his story and his appearance. I don't think anyone will disagree that there are similarities. But, be that as it may, I grew to like his character, especially when he cut his hair and grew into his role as a Jedi in training and quit acting so much like Aladdin. Anyways, the crew encounters some familiar faces, and some new ones. Characters like Darth Maul, or just Maul, Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Clone Wars favorites Ahsoka Tano and Captain Rex, and of course, Darth Vader. They all made appearances. But there were some new faces. Of course, the entire crew of the Ghost was new, but, as mentioned before, other new faces included the Inquisitors, former Jedi that had been turned to the dark side as hunters of Jedi for the Empire. This was confusing. If you had been around since A New Hope was released, you may have thought, what are those? They weren't mentioned any time before this. But, as I said before, I gave it a chance and really liked the show. The Inquisitors weren't horrible characters either, but I was confused as to why they were created, not by the Empire, but by Lucasfilm. Why did they do this? How could they do this? What do I mean? Or, a better question would be, why was I so upset about it? Well, I will not go through my whole beginning statement again, but rather try to explain it a little differently. Darth Vader was the fall of the Jedi, at least to me. He helped the Empire hunt down and destroy the Jedi Knights, as Obi-Wan Kenobi said. Yes, I know the word helped was in there, but at the time, Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine were the only evil Force users we knew. Even when the prequels came out, we learned of the rule of two. Now, there were more. However, these Inquisitors weren't Sith. Okay, chance given. Asajj Ventress wasn't a Sith either, but rather an assassin. But I pose the bigger question for all of you. Did the creation of the Inquisitors take away from the importance and the role Darth Vader played in the purge of the Jedi Order? Okay, let me explain why I felt like it did take away from the meaning of Darth Vader. At first, in the original films, it was shown that Darth Vader was nothing but loyal to his master, and his master was nothing but fond of him. They had a bond. They were a two-man team who took out the Jedi Order and ruled the galaxy with an iron fist. Just the two of them. In the original trilogy, Darth Vader was the muscle, the one with the strength to carry out the Emperor's wishes, the one explained as the reason for the fall of the destruction of the Jedi Order. A one-man show that could choke people while breathing on them heavily. We saw him even choke out Imperial officers for failing or questioning his abilities. Darth Vader kept his pimp hand strong. Now, we are shown Darth Vader wasn't good enough to do it alone. Yes, I know that in all reality, one man couldn't clean up a galaxy of Jedi. But this wasn't the real world, and we were led to believe Darth Vader was able to do it. I think that's the biggest reason I didn't like Starkiller from the Force Unleashed games. Not because he wasn't a great character, but because he diminished what I believed Darth Vader was, and what Vader was capable of. Darth Vader didn't need an apprentice, and he sure as heck didn't need a team of Inquisitors, who weren't even given proper names. At least Asajj Ventress and Savage Opress were given names. Why not these guys? Grand Inquisitor? 18th Brother? These aren't names. They may as well have been named Red Shirt number 1 and Red Shirt number 5. And that was the point. These were characters that were meant to be thrown away once they were no longer useful, or once they showed weakness. So, why bother giving them a name? Why bother giving Admiral Mahdi a name? But Ventress was given a name, and she had the same purpose. Darth Maul was given a name, and he was meant to be expendable. The same with Count Dooku. I guess they didn't want to make it too obvious that they would be killed off. Nope, not the case. Darth Vader was after their time. We knew that they weren't going to be around. That is, Maul and Dooku. So, I ask again, did the addition of the Force-sensitive Inquisitors diminish the influence Darth Vader had on us and the Star Wars galaxy as a whole? To me, it did. A little bit. At least for a time. There have been many more stories written about Darth Vader since the Inquisitors' arrival. So my opinion is ever evolving. I mean, look at the hallway scene in Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Darth Vader was back in live action and slashing rebel scum in the name of the Empire and the future of the Sith, not to mention all the print media about him. How many Star Wars comics have been made in the last several years? 3 different series? What about the Lords of the Sith novel, the Rogue One novels, or at least 2 of the Thrawn novels? Amazing stuff, and it put Darth Vader back on top as the villain. The fact is, he has overshadowed the Inquisitors and taken the spotlight back once again. So, why were the Inquisitors created at all? The story could have easily been told with Darth Vader leading the charge and Imperial troops reporting sightings of Jedi. But I guess this works too. Okay, I'm sorry for the rant. Like I said before, Darth Vader is my second favorite character, and I felt like his character was slighted by giving him help to bring down the remaining Jedi. The dude took out the entire Jedi Temple on Coruscant with the help of troopers, not Inquisitors. But, like I said, I do like the addition of the Inquisitors now. I just wish something had been mentioned before. But what do you think about the Inquisitors? Did they take away from the importance of Darth Vader? And do you like that they weren't even named? Leave me a comment below and let's discuss it. If you're new to the channel, please don't fail to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay up to date on all my Darth Vader, Mandalorian, Boba Fett, and general Star Wars theories, discussions, and fanfiction stories. Also, hit the thumbs up to show your love for the hard work I put into each video, and pass the word around to your friends about my channel. Thank you for watching, and remember, this is the way, the only way.